Hi guys, I never thought I would utter these words, but I agree with both Donald Trump and Sebastian Gorka. Now that unpleasantness is out of the way, what are we talking about? So the future president and his incoming director of counter-terrorism have both demanded that countries like the United Kingdom take back their citizens who have travelled to Syria in the past to fight or to be part of Islamic State. The Foreign Secretary David Lammy instead has ruled out such a thing for what he sees as security reasons. But on this one occasion, I think David is wrong and Gorka is right. Have a listen.
Trump's incoming director of counter-terrorism, one Sebastian Gorka, friend of the programme. He certainly is not. He despises us.
Yeah.
Both of us, actually.
Individually.
Yeah. And collectively. Anyway, he said to The Times, actually, that Britain must bring back UK members of Islamic State as a price to pay to have a special relationship with the US. Earlier in the programme, we spoke to the Foreign Secretary, David Lammy. So is the government looking to repatriate these people? These are people who are British citizens who went to Syria, involved in ISIS. Should they be brought back to this country? Here's what David Lammy said.
No. And let's be clear.
And even if Trump wanted to do it.
Let me finish the point, Steve. Shamima Begum, the courts found she's not a British citizen, so she will not be coming back. In the end, it's our job to safeguard the British public.
What about British citizens? What about British citizens who are ISIS members?
To safeguard the British public, we, of course, are working and speaking to those who are now running Syria. But there are some very dangerous people there. And between myself and the Home Secretary, it's always about safeguarding the public.
So at the minute, you're not looking to bring them back?
No.
We're joined now by Ian Acheson, a former prison governor and counter-terrorism expert. Ian, good morning to you.
Hi, Steve. Nice to be with you.
Nice to speak to you. What do you make of this? I mean, is he right to say we don't want these people back?
Well, of course he's right to say we don't want them back. There's been a huge reluctance with most Western governments to have back their citizens or nationals who've been caught up in the IS caliphate, which was then destroyed. And the net effect of that was we've got hundreds, perhaps thousands of European combatants locked up in teeming, insecure detention in northeast Syria, run by people that don't even have a state. And, you know, I'm interested in your comments about what Sebastian Gorka has said. One of the other things that is in the mix here is what happens in these camps which rely on US security overwatch to keep them contained. If the United States withdraws that support from the Kurds, then we've got a catastrophe in our hands where we'll have, you know, hundreds, thousands perhaps of trained IS combatants escaping from these camps and going goodness knows where. There's plenty of places in the world now where they will have the safety to regroup and re-engage and actually, in my opinion, become more of a threat to Western security than they are at the moment.
Well,
And there you have it. I will leave a link in the description of this video for the full interview. I do recommend watching it. But what he says is correct here. You know, there are people, very dangerous individuals, and also maybe potentially not dangerous individuals, but we have a mix of people in Syria who went there to fight for Islamic State, and they're currently sitting in prisons. Now, we don't know what the future Syrian government is going to do, and if the US withdraws support for the Kurds, for example, who are holding on to some of these people, then what happens? So, if you're to bring these individuals back to Europe and to the United Kingdom, then you can put them on trial. Now, Ian here goes on to say, you know, it's extremely expensive, it's extremely difficult to do this, but it's probably the better choice, because if you don't, then what will happen is these prisons will eventually be emptied, and these individuals could find their way back to Europe or to the United Kingdom, you know, in a way that you were not expecting. And that could be a serious problem. And then the government would have to answer the question, why were you not monitoring these people? How is it possible that you didn't know that these people were coming back? So while I understand David Lammy's dilemma here, if he were to bring these people back, he would face a political backlash from the Conservatives and Reform UK in particular. But if he doesn't, and then these people eventually find their way back to the United Kingdom, you know, maybe crossing the channel or something in a small boat, then this is going to be perhaps a bigger problem, because then he's going to have to explain why he didn't know that these people were coming in the first place. So I think if you're to bring these people back and put them in jail, at least you have a control on them. You know where they are, you know what they're doing. While if these prisons in Syria are emptied, and you have no control over that, then these individuals could engage in something that could be extremely damaging to the UK, and it could cost lives. And then you would have to explain why you didn't take action at the time. So I think the best approach would be, unfortunately, Sebastian Gorka and Donald Trump have said, is for Europe and the UK to bring these people back, put them on trial, put them in prison if necessary, if that's what, if they've committed a crime, because then at least you have some sort of control over them. But by allowing the state of Syria at the moment to try and deal with them, or to be expecting the Kurds to deal with them, is offloading responsibility onto somebody else. These are European and British citizens. They are our responsibility. We need to take responsibility for them, and it's only justified, it's only correct that we bring them back. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.